gentlemen, welcome to Darling Street Oval. Ahead is what we have, the second leg of the first grade fixture. The team lineups are as follows, beginning with the away side. Number 1, Brad Swatcott. Number 19, Michael Sessions. Number 3, Nathan Morris. Number 2, Liam O'Dell. Number 15, Riley McNaughton. Number 6, Joe Willout. Number 8, Ben Hay.
Second semi-final between Hamilton Olympic and Lambton Jaffas. Lambton Jaffas currently holding 1-0 lead. Here with Joel Grinnell. Joel, great to have you on board. We're hearing Jimmy Pascoe's not here today.
Yeah, he's not able to get out of bed today, so the boys will just have to put in a shift without him, but we all know our jobs and we'll get the win.
Any major changes for today's game from last week?
No, not at all. Same sort of setup as last week. Obviously, we need to score a couple of goals. They've got the vital away goal, so as it stands now, it's quite even. So we need to get an early goal or two to really put the pressure back on Olympic.
Yeah, all the best for today and good luck.
Thanks, mate.
We'll hand you back up to the boys. Thanks, Joel.
Thanks, CT, for that quick chat with Joel Grinnell. This afternoon, two sides with so much finals history meet at Darling Street Oval on a very special afternoon of NPL Northern New South Wales action. The first of our semi-finals today, and then later on this evening at 7:30 we will be at Jack McLaughlin Oval, the Eagles hosting Broadmeadow Magic. So we're just about to get underway. Beautiful weather here in Hamilton for this afternoon's clash. James Cleal is our referee. At the moment, we're sitting at about 18 degrees. The wind nowhere near as strong as where it was last week. It is from the south. It's only 13 kilometres an hour. Hamilton down by 2-1 after Ben Hay's cracking last-minute strike against for the Jaffas last week. It will be Scott Smith who's returning to the starting lineup this weekend in favour of Reece Pappas. And we are underway. The second leg, the final 90 minutes of one of these side seasons to begin right here. Smudge, which way do you see this one going?
Yeah, mate, it's going to be a cracking game. There's one big notable absence today. Is James Pascoe. He's obviously off sick, so Joel Grinnell is running the sideline. So I think James Pascoe is a bit of a loss for Lambton as well, even though he's the coach. But for me, I think it's going to be a very tight contest. Olympic again going with their familiar lineup with a 5-3-2. Likewise for Lambton. Obviously, Bolcher's made a few changes to the side last week. However, Olympic do have their away goals. So for me, even though Lambton's going into the game a win ahead, Olympic are playing at home and they have got an away goal. So I think for me, I'm thinking Olympic might scratch home.
And if you have just joined us, the big news is that Lambton Jaffas coach James Pascoe is bedridden today and he was unable to come to this afternoon's match. So Scott McCarter and Joel Grinnell, Alex Johnson-Young on the bench, running the show for Lambton this afternoon. Should be an interesting one. Here is Ben Hay, hero from last weekend. Marcus Duncan with a boot in, Ryan Griffiths trying to find his brother. And Kyle Hodges, who with this afternoon's match goes within 3 matches of Barry Park, who has played the most matches for Hamilton Olympic without a goal, 121. Kyle Hodges goes up to 118 this afternoon as Matt Swan looks infield. Joe Wheelhouse played 60 minutes last weekend. And
just on that, but I was talking to Barry Parks at the Men of Football the other week with Ange Postecoglou when he was there, and
McNaughton whipping this one in. So you put a face to the name, Smudge.
Yeah, the old Spadge.
Ben Hay tries it again. Dips over the bar.
Yeah, so he didn't realise he had the record, actually. So obviously he's got a feeling Kyle Hodges will surpass his record. What are your thoughts, CT?
Yeah, I think they will. He will as well. Boys, I was just speaking to a couple of the Maitland players that have just come off from the previous game, and they were saying how slippery the surface was underfoot. And, that may play a part in this game this afternoon because, we know both sides like to play and push the ball around. And if you've got that bit of uneasiness under your feet, it might just create an opportunity with a missed tackle or a slide or a slip, which is on the cards, especially, around the back third of the park.
And that's the thing, it is beautiful weather this afternoon, but it was last night, it absolutely bucketed down in some patches of Newcastle, so Darling Street wasn't spared from that, and that's why it is a little bit muddy out just on the near side. The far side's a little drier. There's Andrew Swan finds Goodchild, and free kick going the way of Hamilton Olympic, who have been in a little bit of a rut in their last 2 matches. They've lost both of them. They lost to Broadmeadow Magic 2-1 in round 22, and Lambton last weekend 2-1, as we mentioned. But before then, they were on a 6-match winning streak, and here at Darling Street, they have lost just 1 of their last 8. This one is whipped in. Matt Swan. I am going to have a chat, CT, as Cody Lucas cops a little clip.
Just on Olympic, Bart, they've made 2 changes to last week's game. Cody Lucas has come in for Grant Brown. Daniel Bird's moved to the left-hand side, Cody Lucas to the right, and Scott Smith has come in for Reese Cooper.
Here's Andrew Swan lining up the shot. Ricochets away to that man, Daniel Bird, that Smudge was just mentioning. At Central. He scored in the semi-final series last year, Daniel Bird, against Broadmeadow Magic in the first leg. Hasn't scored as many goals this year. He's just scored the 2. He had a much better season last year. Goal-scoring-wise, he scored 5, so...
Yeah, but just on that change, it's good to see Reese Cooper back in his number 10 familiar role, and Scott Smith and Goodchild together up front. They're a lethal couple when they want to be.
Here's McNaughton, yeah, those two both heading to Charlestown next year. Mentioning Charlestown, I'll come back to it after Nathan. Verity almost finds Ryan Griffiths. Well, he did find him, and Ryan Griffiths didn't get the contact he would have liked, as he did last weekend. In the first leg, he scored the opener, Ryan Griffiths. He's had a good run in the NPL. He scored 7 goals since coming to the club in round 13. Yeah, speaking of Charlestown, they went down in the 18s this afternoon, 4-0. Or this morning, I should say, to Olympic. So Olympic through to the grand final in the 18s. And in the 20s, bit of an upset. Maitland 1-1 with the Jets, and it was Maitland's away match. So they go through on the away goal rule after the first leg was 0-0. So some big clashes also coming up later today at Edgeworth. The Jets up against Adamstown in the 18s, and in the 20s, Hamilton have a 3-0 lead over Edgeworth. A bit of drama relating to that, with Kigo Moriyasu being ineligible to play after a 0-0 draw last weekend in the 20s. So Hamilton got a 3-0 win there, as Tom Davies now pushes forward. Plays it straight to Ben Hay. Finds Michael Kantorowski in the middle of the park. And threads the pass wide for Joel Griffiths. Against the eastern touchline.
Just an interesting fact from last weekend, we mentioned CT, that both these teams have scored in every single game this year, haven't they? And they scored last week as well. So will that happen today, CT?
I would expect so. I mean, we've seen chances already. Back to that opportunity, the ball that Verity played in for Griffiths there was absolutely pinpoint. I would have, when that ball was going and he was there, I was expecting to see that in the back of the net. It's a little bit uncharacteristic that he didn't get some on that, but I would expect to see some goals here today, boys. And as I said before, with it being a little bit slippery, there might be a couple of opportunities.
Well, here's a good chance for Lambton with Joel Griffiths, I should say, standing over it, curling it into towards Sessions. Sits back up. Ben Hay again on the edge of the 18. Must send some shivers down Olympic fans' spines, but Scott Smith rushing up the ground. Goodchild just couldn't get the touch, and Nathan Morris was there. You can see the strapping on his left knee. Spent some time out with injury.
Yeah, for me, I think it's very important Kane Goodchild gets into the game this week. Last week was a little bit quiet as well, marked at the back by Morris. But I think this week he just needs to drop off a little bit, into the pockets, get the ball, and face up and turn it plays. That's where he's dangerous.
CT, I can see the similarities here in this semi-final series compared to the one in 2015, where it was another two-leg battle between Lambton and Hamilton. On that occasion, Lambton finished second and Olympic third, so the first leg was played here at Darling Street. Olympic won that 2-1, and then in the second leg, Lambton came right back into it, won that one 2-1 at full time, and then Reese Cooper scored a winner in the 110th minute it was to seal the deal, and we were there at Arthur Redden that afternoon. And you can just see the similarities. Reese Cooper scoring last week. Pat Brown, would you believe, scored for Hamilton back then. to keep them in the contest, because Hamilton won the first leg 2-1. Lambton were actually up 2-0 in that second leg, and then Pat Brown scored to send it into extra time. Dave Tancheski was the boss of Lambton then. Of course, we mentioned he's going to Charlestown next season.
Remember it well, Bart. And one of the things about this time of the year is a grand final place, or a place in the grand final, and Smudge knows this as well as anyone, how important it is to the players. They just want it so much, and they will put everything on the line to make that happen. So, every pass, every tackle, the guys are right into it, and it's what makes semi-finals football so exciting, because they're just the desire to get into a grand final and have that opportunity is something they all strive for.
And for the first time ever, it's at McDonald Jones Stadium. So that's another exciting piece of the grand final day action.
And just on your point there, CT, as you know, like you win a premiership, it's a great feeling winning a premiership, but winning a grand final, the elation straight after the full-time whistle is just amazing, isn't it? There's nothing that is a comparison to it, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just that sense of achievement, above and beyond. I don't know what the difference is, and lots of people have different views on it, don't they? But, that feeling of winning the grand final is just something that's really special.
And celebrating with the boys afterwards. I totally agree with that.
And plus your season's, finished, apart from, you may have some other games coming up with...
FFA Cup.
Yeah, or, the state cups, I think they're called, where you play against the other federations. But, yeah, just that feeling it's over and you've achieved it and you've done it after all your hard work.
Here's Cody Lucas on the race.
Sorry, Bart, that was well played by Olympic. They had about 7-8 passes in a row. That was well done. Scotty Smith pulling off, coming into the pockets, creating the extra man in midfield. They did quite well then.
They scored a goal against Lake Macquarie back in round 21 Olympic. 12 passes from inside their own half to Kane Goodchild finishing it off. It was beautiful stuff from Hamilton. That's what they can do.
Just here, Lambton's quite deep, aren't they, CT? They've there's a bit of space in midfield on a tight pitch. On a pitch like this, you want to really cramp the space, compact the space.
Yeah, well, particularly when you're defending. But we have noticed, or I've picked up before, is there's some width in the game. Look at Olympics wide guys now, and we didn't really see that last week. Smith puts the ball.
Daniel Bird almost away from McNaughton. He gets a push and wins the free kick. Lambton, they've come out of a bit of a rut recently. They've won their last 2 matches and 3 of their last 4. And they've won their last 3 against Olympic and are unbeaten in 4 in all competitions. So the FFA Cup included. That's unbeaten in their last 4, and they've won their last 4 and unbeaten in 5. So they've had a great record against Olympic of late. Of Lambton won all 3 matches this year. 3-2 in round 1, 3-2 in round 12, and 2-1 last week at Arthur Eden Oval. Reece Cooper chips this one, looking for Scott Smith. Swancott with a punch. Come back to Brad Swancott in a second as Andrew Swan finds his brother Matt. Mate touch to Marcus Duncan, who his quality just evades him for a moment. Boys, you said before the game, Brad Swancott, he had his game face on in the warm-up. How often do you see that from him these days?
CT interviewed him as player of the day last week. I thought he had his game face on at half-time, like at the end of the game, but it was sort of half-time in the leg, wasn't it?
Yeah, and even before the game last week, he had the Mike Tyson pre-game fight eyes, if that makes sense. He was looking like he was there for business, and I didn't see him before the game necessarily close up, but he seemed like he was right into his warm-up, that's for sure.
Now, I need to ask, because I wasn't there last week, did Lambton sing the team song?
No, they didn't.
There you go. Both sides that won didn't sing the team song after the first leg. Edgeworth as well. It's Kantorowski curling it in, and Daniel Bird, should say Tom Davies, another youngster, knocks it away. Cody Lucas.
What I'm liking about Olympic initially, both Scott Smith and Goodchild are both dropping into the pockets nice and early, creating that extra man in midfield, and that's well defended by Sessions on Scott Smith, which has just getting him a little bit more possession than Lambton at the moment. So,
and hey, back to Sessions, who gets knocked to ground by Swan.
It's such a complementary pair, those two, aren't they? One's very, very straightforward in Smith, and very attacking in his nature, and Goodchild's very happy with his back to goal and also running at players also.
Now, I've also got scores here from the NPL Youth Grand Finals. North Coast football, great to see them in action in the NPL Youth Finals. They beat Edgeworth 3-0 in the 13s, and in the 14s, Lambton Jaffas beat Adamstown 4-0. So it's a bit of a carve-up in both the grand finals in the youth so far. We'll bring you the rest of the scores as they come in this evening, this afternoon and this evening as well.
Boys, it's good to see Joe Wheelhouse back. He came off with about, 25 minutes to go last week. So that was his first game after about 8 weeks. So it's great to see Joe back on the park. I know he's still struggling with his ankle injury, but it's great to see him and Nathan Morris back for Lambton Jaffas. And Nathan Morris was a standout last week as well in defence. Yeah,
the question is, will he be able to see out 90 minutes this afternoon, Joe Wheelhouse? The other question is, if it goes into extra time potentially, I don't think he'd be able to see out 2 hours of football.
Boys, we've got Peter Haynes at home watching today, and he's just sent through a text. He's liking the look of Michael Kandarowski, and he thinks that combination, which I agree, between him and Wheelhouse is going to be very important, in the outcome of this match. And I have to admit, I agree, they're both looking good on the ball at the moment.
Smith across to Cody Lucas. 2 goals in his time at Hamilton Olympic, both against Western. And both, one last season, which was a ripper.
Just on Peter
Joel Griffiths, he's got one from Kyle Hodges here. Don't know how impressed he was with that. It will be a Lambton free kick.
Just on Peter Haynes, CT, you've nicknamed him Johnny Farnham. He's had more send-offs than Johnny Farnham this year.
Have I?
He's got another send-off.
Was that your joke, was it?
Well, he had the send-off in round 21 against the Jets, and he's going to have he had the send-off last week at Magic Park, final game at Magic Park, and then tonight. Potentially, I'm not going to say. Imagine if Magic wins. Here's Joel Griffiths. He's in. Tyler Warren, great save. Hodges away. This chance is not gone. McNaughton, he knows how to find the back of the net in semi-finals. He couldn't there. Nathan Verity, he scored in the second leg in 2015. Riley McNaughton.
You know, Olympic just need to be careful. They've had probably the lion's share of possession. However, Lambton have had 2 very good chances and could have easily scored.
Let's have a look at this on replay. Tyler Warren has got down to the ball beautifully. Just got himself there very quickly to block that shot. And if he stays on his line, that's a goal.
That is a big save, because I'm going to say that's close to as big as the one Nate Cavalieri made last week for Edgeworth. Huge save. If Lambton get the goal there, it's difficult for Olympic. Very difficult.
Well, then they need a minimum 2 goals.
This one whipped in, and Kantarowski able to keep the ball inside the line. I just want to talk big matches and Hamilton Olympic. Their best has seemed to have evaded them in the last few years. Of course, the Cup this year against Edgeworth, they went down. Last year in the semi-final series, they lost both matches to Broadmeadow Magic. They lost last year in the Cup to Lambton. And in 2015, they went down in the grand final. Is that something that can play on their mind, CT?
Oh, look, to be honest, I don't think it really does too much. I mean, yeah, sure, you remember things that have happened in the past, but it's about today. They're just looking forward to winning this game and then, being a part of next week. So I just think that their full focus and attention's on today.
Thought that was very good refereeing there from James Cleal. Thought Ben Hay went down a little soft and a little softly.
There's definitely some feeling in this match, isn't there? It's just starting to heat up, isn't it, CT? It's a few solid blocks and challenges in there.
And I'm sure it'll get hotter as we go on, Smudge. The heat. Kanarowski. It's only 16 minutes in. Griffiths looks for his brother. Still Ryan Griffiths. And wins the free kick. So Lambton getting a few free kicks going their way from the birthday boy, referee James Cleal, this afternoon. Where's he going tonight, Smudge? You were having we might wait for that. It's Ryan Griffiths. No, he's going to bring it back. So we'll have a chance for Smudge's story time with James Cleal.
James is another highly intelligent physiotherapist as well. So he's going to lay Miz tonight. Get a bit of culture for him and his lovely wife.
That's
his 31st birthday.
Great to hear. So he won't be watching the other semi.
Well, he might do a little sneaky and have it on his phone while Les Mis is going
on. That's right.
So.
Get on your phone, watch Bar TV. It's live on Facebook as well. There's Joel Griffiths in, and again, plenty of headaches being caused for this Olympic defence, which is standing resolutely at the moment. Conceded 12 times at home this year in 10 matches, Hamilton Olympic. So just over 1 a game. Away from home, they're even better. Just 8 goals conceded in 10 as Tyler Warren grabs that one was outraised. He gave Joe Wheelhouse a little bit of a push and then releases Swan onto Bird. And Daniel Bird flowing forward down the far side of the ground.
Yeah, Job had every right to stand in front of Tyler Warren. Then Job was just running back into position. So Tyler a little bit lucky there not to get a free kick against him, CT.
Would it have been indirect or a penalty? Would have been
an indirect.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no real need for Tyler Warren to be doing that. He just needs to get on with the game and not put his team in position. Probably just a bit of frustration, to be honest.
We actually saw an indirect free kick in the FFA Cup the other night in the Gold Coast United Moreton Bay match. Pretty sure it was Moreton Bay whipping in the free kick. Gold Coast won 1-0 in extra time. Moreton Bay whipped in the free kick. The goalkeeper from Gold Coast knew exactly what was going on and just let the ball go in the back of his net. Very, very smartly played by the keeper. And same thing happens in hockey as well, actually. We've got 3 hits and you can't score, obviously, outside the circle.
And again, Lambton's defence is just dropping a little bit too deep here, CT. There's a little bit of space in midfield. Lambton playing with a lot of width here, which is good. And look, there's Scotty Smith dropping off the back 3 again. But unfortunately, the ball just evaded him.
Here's Ben Hay. Gee, showed a turn of speed through the centre of the park. On to Griffiths. Now Joel Griffiths with a chance to send Lambton up by 2 and a second chance. And Hamilton are just hanging on for dear life at the moment.
Yeah, it definitely looks that way. And what a big save from Tyler Warren as we see him slip over there.
And here is a chance from distance. And Tyler Warren, breathing a sigh of relief.
He's earning his money today, isn't he? He slipped over, played from distance.
So here is the save. Great save again. Working his angles nicely. And then here it is releasing.
This is where he slips over.
We're not going to be able to see it. So
Boys,
almost 20 gone here on Bar TV.
Just on Lambton, they transition really quick. They've got some class players up front in the Griffiths boys, but also Ben Hayes, electrifying. He's quick, and he's not really tight. He's been playing the boys in, the Griffiths boys in, and they look very dangerous going forward. They've had 3 very good chances to Olympics, probably more lines of possession.
And we know in big matches you've got to take those chances, don't you? There's Daniel Bird, back for Cooper. Across to Cody Lucas. Lucas into the middle. Good child rises. It was just a tad behind him. And Riley McNaughton just thumps it downfield.
So that slip from Tyler Warren before, that's what we're talking about earlier in the match, where something may occur like that, particularly in the bottom third of the park, which can change. And I'll tell you what, he was so nearly caught off his line with a great shot. So, that's the danger that a slightly slippery pitch will bring in.
Now, under Michael Balch, since he's been at Hamilton since 2010, Olympic have lost just 1 of 5 finals matches here at Darling Street as we see the first yellow card come out for Joe Wheelhouse. He gets a push from Daniel Bird, so maybe they're just trying to get under Job's skin here. Well, Daniel Bird tries to get under a lot of people's skin, I'll say that much.
That was a pirouette from the 9 Swan.
21 minutes gone. Yeah, so just 1 loss in 5 matches under Michael Balch for Hamilton in finals at Darling Street. That was last year. And to be honest, they were going for it at the back end, so they were up 1-0 and pretty much had to throw caution to the wind, and it was going to go one of 2 ways. Magic were going to score, or Olympic were going to send themselves through to the grand final. In the end, it was Magic who did the job as Scott Smith gives away the free kick. But here's the conversion rate for Olympic. So under Michael Balch, 8 seasons, so this is his 9th. Is that right? 7, 8, no it is. 8 seasons.
8 plus 1 is 9, Bar.
No, it is 8 seasons. It's 7 plus 1, 2010. Yeah, it's 8 seasons. So they've made the final 6 times in 8 seasons under Michael Balch. They've only made the grand final twice. So the conversion rate, we'll see if they can improve that. It will be 3 in 3 of those 6 if they can make it this afternoon. As Odell goes along the turf, Griffiths.
what's working well for Lambton as well is the interchange between Kandarowski and Joe Wheelhouse. Kandarowski's normally sitting in front of the back three, but then Joe will swap and Kandarowski will push forward, which is working quite well for them.
Yeah, as we see Job in a more forward position now, Kandarowski's screening the back three.
It's a nice touch from Smith, and then Swan a little too heavy as he was looking for Bird. And Bird gets felt. Now, I remember last week, Lam O'Dell was probably lucky not to give away a penalty for the bump on Daniel Bird down
for me, that was a dead set penalty. It was a foul inside the box, even though he wasn't going on goal, but it was a definite foul inside the box.
Just going at it a little bit there as well, so maybe there could be more to come. Swan turns it over to McNaughton.
You can see that point you made before, Smudge. So Wheelhouse sitting deep and Kandarowski in a higher position, so they definitely are rotating that around.
Yeah, and it looks good too.
And it does. It really mixes it up for them, doesn't it? So it just creates an imbalance for Olympic.
It's very tight here. Olympic needs some width. And again, Goodchild just peels off his back three.
Goodchild now to Lucas, who was looking for Reece Cooper to speed his way down the middle. Ricochets to Swancott instead. So 24 minutes gone. Semi-final number 2, the second leg I should say. And Lambton still with that 2-1 lead on aggregate. So they're going through to the grand final next week at McDonald Jones Stadium as it stands. But there's plenty of water to pass under the bridge just yet in this one. Ben Hay with the outside of the boot. Kyle Hodges, not his best clearance.
So CT, like the scores is nil all. The longer it stays nil all, to me it sort of favours Olympic a little bit actually, because they just need a 1-0 win and they can really push for that last 15 minutes. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, Olympic are in a position where, well, put it this way, Lambton just have to score. That's what needs to happen. And at this stage, they've been looking like they're going to do it.
Kandarowski pulls Reece Cooper out of the way. And Cooper earns the free kick for his side.
Yeah, I think the longer it stays nil all, the advantage, even though Lambton are winning on aggregate, the advantage is slightly to Olympic because they can actually push numbers forward a little bit, and a 1-0 win gets them through.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just think this is going to go into extra time. I think Olympic are going to win this 2-1. It just has that feeling about it, Smudge. And just over the years, 2013, these two sides met in the finals twice, in the qualifying final and the prelim. Both matches 1-1 at the end, as we see. Olympic, Reece Cooper again copping some treatment from the Lambton defence.
Yeah, Sessions.
Just going back 2013, 2 finals, both finished 1-1 after extra time. Both went to penalties. Both Lambton won 5-4. So finals between these two are just almightily close. 2015, as we mentioned, extra time, 2-1 each way at full time, and then Olympic getting the job done. So he's Olympic with the free kick.
Well, this is a great distance out because it's far enough out to get it over the wall, but and to have it to dip, but also that you can really put some sting into it.
The only issue for them is their specialists, Sean Pratt and Reece Pappas, are both off the park. Marcus Duncan, sort of a bit of a part-time taker of the dead ball situation as Duncan hits it into the wall. It's been Pappas and Sean Pratt that have taken the majority of them in the back half of the season. There's a crowd killer. As the ball skews into the Matt Austin stand here at Darling Street Oval. And Cody Lucas out of Cooper and over the top. Joe Wheelhouse. Now, in that round 12 match between these two sides, it's Griffiths. They're going to play. He's not going to play advantage. He hasn't signalled it. So Lambton, obviously no free kick.
I'm going back again. The combination between Kandarowski, Wheelhouse, and even Ben Hay in the centre of the park is a good combination, isn't CT?
Yeah, looks good.
Good rotation. Oh, nice touch.
Good shot. Lovely touch to Scott Smith. Here he is. Smith lines it up, and whoa. That is just sprayed off his left boot and wide.
Smith won't be happy with that.
Great nod on by Goodchild, wasn't it? Smith Well defended by Morris, but he sort of backed off.
Do you think it took a little bobble?
Yeah, it looked like it. Scotty Smith would say that.
Absolutely wouldn't. Probably did, to be fair.
I thought Morris did well. He sort of backed off, gave Smith a bit of room, and then he went to close. Just put Smith off a bit.
I'm just going to say, that round 12 match between these two sides, Smudge, I'm pretty sure, as Reece Cooper will come back to that. Cooper! Straight to Swancott. It looked like it had a lot more power than what it ended up having, and Swancott just stood in front of his goal.
Again, didn't trouble Swancott in the end, but certainly took a deflection. You just never know with deflections.
Yes, so back to Sean Pratt, round 12. Smudge and I were there. 4 times he hit the post, from free kicks, from shots. It was just incredible that afternoon, where Olympic went down 3-2. They led 1-0. So in all of the matches, apart from last week, this season, Hamilton Olympic led at half-time. So in the finals, effectively after the first leg, that was half-time, and Lambton were ahead. So interesting. Wheelhouse. McNaughton. Here's Swan and Scott Smith on the turn. Along the turf to Cody Lucas. And Liam Odell back to Swancott.
And Smudge, we noticed from last week how compact it was. Does it appear, in your opinion, that the games got a lot more width and depth?
100%. And I think the defenders, look at Olympic. They're 15 yards on the other side of the halfway. Where last week they'll push right on halfway, and it was so compact, so tight, with minimal chances. Where today you've already seen like 3 or 4 really good chances to Lambton, and Olympics had quite a few, probably two fairly good chances. But the game's definitely opened up more so than last week, which is surprising because I thought it would have been a lot more tight affair. And here's Lambton again.
McNaughton down towards the byline. It was running quickly, and it was too quick for Riley McNaughton. It's just amazing how quickly the ball sped off that drier part of the pitch on that far side as we are ticking towards the half-hour mark. So, boys, coming up to 30 minutes, and I'd probably say at this stage, Lambton have had the better of the chances.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I think that combination that Smudge was talking about, and one fact Peter Haynes texted through before with Wheelhouse and Kantorowski, their balance has been really good. And I've enjoyed the willingness of Olympic to get some width into the game as well as has Lambton. So, this game looks to have goals in it.
Joel Griffiths. It's the boot in, and Swan now to Smith, and looking over towards Goodchild, and Goodchild is away. Cooper with him, and Cooper loses his footing, but Goodchild still on the run. Here's Cody Lucas along the ground, and the clearance from Odell was getting a little bit frantic for Lambton at the back there.
Yeah, it looked like Cody Lucas got in Goodchild's way slightly. They should have just spread out nice and wide and let Goodchild go one-on-one with the Lambton defenders.
Here's Swan. Lucas.
Smudge, it was...
Davies now. Smith. That was beautifully chested down to Matt Swan on the turn. Reece Cooper. Another great touch from Cooper. Look at that. One touch to Lucas. Cody Lucas. This one straight to...
Well defended by Morris.
Swancott. That was well done by Swancott because he had a lot of bodies in front of him there. As that one was curled in. Made it look very easy.
Boys, I was just going to say, the volume from the Olympic crowd when they get down that end of the scoring chain is just fantastic to hear. They're really getting behind their team.
It's Griffiths. Hey. Marcus Duncan. Very, very well cut out by him.
I will say Lambton, when they go forward, they look dangerous, don't they? With the Griffiths boys and Hay, plus Kantorowski and Wheelhouse.
There's Griffiths now. Kantorowski. Hay. Nathan Verity. Rolling it low and losing his footing, as we mentioned. It is a little damp out there.
The other thing I've noticed at Lambton, they're not committing too many numbers forward really quickly. Obviously, they've got the lead here. So, obviously, they don't want to get caught out at the back. Which really shows it's like semi-final football, isn't it, CT?
Yeah, and that's exactly right. And again, I'll mention the slipperiness under the foot could come into play, as we saw with Tyler's clearance.
Swan slips over and almost took Nathan Verity with him.
Boys, just while the ball's out, my daughter Holly, it's her birthday last Friday. She told me she's interested in getting into the makeup industry, so I told her to apply daily.
Here's Kyle Hodges with a nice header. That's a better header than the joke, I must say.
Yeah, Gary Fisher's jokes 2 weeks ago or last week were a lot better than that. That was terrible, mate.
Apply daily.
No, I get it, but it was a terrible joke.
Yeah, she didn't like it either when I tested it out. I don't know if that makes you feel any better, Smudge.
Now, while CT's promoting things, a reminder that this evening, 7:30, Edgeworth and Magic. Tomorrow at 4, we're at the New FM Grand Final as Ben Hay. He was going at some speed. He was at a gallop and gets taken to ground. Tomorrow, New FM Grand Final, boys. Cooks Hill up against Bell Swans. And then on Friday next week, Friday night at 7, we are doing the big Grand Final live show on the NPL Northern New South Wales Facebook page.
And I heard we've got hair and makeup for CT on the live show as well, which is great news for CT.
Smudge, I'm happy to take that sledge. However, it's just not me that falls into that category, mate.
His wheelhouse, chipping it over wide. Daniel Bird, Kantorowski.
He's been good, Kantorowski, hasn't he? The opening 35 minutes. Just on the New FM Grand Final tomorrow, boys. Spoke to both the coaches during the week, and both are quietly confident about the game on tomorrow afternoon. Great ball.
Should be a good one.
Oh, well
very good one. Here's Cooper. He's been a menace for the Lambton defence. Wasn't a bad ball. Goodchild chips it over. Smith, lovely touch. Goodchild, and it bumbles along the turf to Brad Swancoat. He will be gutted, you can see. Kane Goodchild, he knew how big a chance that was. Just got caught under his boot. And it bobbled just bobbled up off the surface. Just didn't get the power. That was a huge moment. Great interplay from those two.
I was going to say, Smith and Goodchild again. They're great together, aren't they, CT?
Yeah, aren't they? And we just saw another perfect example of that. Just their understanding of each other, and big opportunity there for Goodchild, boys. He will be seething that he didn't get a better piece of that, because he was clear and he had a go at Swancott.
You know what I like about Lambton? The free kicks, they just get it moving straight away. There, Kantorowski just touches the ball back to Sessions, get the ball moving. That's what I like.
Yep. They
don't stall the play, they just keep the rhythm going, keep the rhythm of the game going.
So Tyler Warren, he was at West Wallsend last season, and West Wallsend are actually in the under-23s grand final tomorrow, boys. West Wallsend knocking off Cooks Hill in the 23s, who are the minor premiers. Big result there. Here is Ben Hay. McNaughton rises, and straight to Tyler Warren.
Well, we had Ben Hayes, our sports click man of the match last week, and I tell you the shift he's putting in today. Gee, a great ball in there, Smudge.
Here's Verity tracking back and just had the hook out there, reeling in the ball. Beautifully done by the Central Coast product. Actually carpools to training with Liam O'Dell and Ridge Marput as Nathan Verity, all from the Central Coast. Ridge Marput on the bench this afternoon's match. He was, basically at the start of the season, Verity was coming off the bench a lot of the time. James Pascoe just waiting for his fitness to improve a little, and since then he's been a mainstay of this.
Yeah, he's been good, hasn't he? Been consistent this year.
We've mentioned him last week, in fact, Bart, about his play, and he's been very good in that position, and allows...
Reece Cooper copping some more attention from Kantorowski and winning the free kick, and then for his troubles he slips over.
And it allows Sessions to get back central into the middle of the park, and that gives him a lot of extra strength at the back.
Cooper, centre ground. Sessions is there. Kantorowski's pass, another clash in the middle of the park. Marcus Duncan and Ryan Griffiths coming together.
Yeah, it looked like a foul on Ryan Griffiths then. Marcus Duncan just holding him. Ryan Griffiths using his body very well.
Andrew Swan. Smith now.
I like how Smith's dropping deep, just creating that extra man in midfield. It's good rotation from Olympic as well. Both sides are rotating their midfield and strike force very well.
This one in, Kelvin towards the middle, and Ryan Griffiths touches to McNaughton. Liam Odell chipping forward.
Boys, I was talking to Damien Zane last night. He's very excited about today's game. He said the boys trained very well during the week, and obviously he's quietly confident going into the game tonight with a 1-0 lead.
Wheelhouse finding Ben Hay, and he slips over and just couldn't keep it in. Yeah, the 1-0 lead for Edgeworth. It's the most comfortable Edgeworth have been in both of the years they've made the semi-finals under Damien Zane. They're both previous first leg matches were draws. First year against Magic was 3-3, and last year against Maitland was 2-2.
Yeah, I really like his 5-3-2 formation. However, that's if he plays it tonight. But last week when he played 5-3-2, yeah, they were rock solid, weren't they? And they limited Magic to only limited chances. And our sports man of the match, Josh Evans, was absolutely outstanding.
I really enjoyed that contest last week. Great match between Magic and Edgeworth on the Saturday night. Swan and a Hodges.
So will it be Johnny Farnham's last game? CT, what are your thoughts?
I assume you're talking about Peter Haynes, Smudge.
Ryan Griffiths, that's a strong tackle on Tom Davies there. Using his stealth to his advantage there, just snuck up behind him.
Yeah, he did well, Ryan Griffiths.
And now Tom Davies trying to hold up Griffiths. That's Swan. Duncan back to Tyler Warren.
Just on formations, so far, all four semi-final sides are playing three at the back.
Come back to that.
Goodchild again with a lovely turn. And again, he just can't get it off the carpet. Is this an omen for Olympic?
No, not yet, I don't think.
I know Lambton have been unable to finish their chances, but they've made Tyler Warren. They've given Tyler Warren some work to do. Daniel Bird goes into the book. Just a little clip on Joe Wheelhouse. He's not reacting, is he, Joe Wheelhouse? Daniel Bird just niggling him, isn't he? He's very experienced, as we know. Jaffas skipper, 106 A-League matches.
And prior to his injury, he was probably one of the best players in the competition. He had such an influence on a game.
Wheelhouse threads it through. Griffiths! And again, Tyler Warren into action.
And he almost had the influence there, Smudge. What a ball through that was, and created great opportunity. Another great save from Tyler Warren.
I think the key for Lambton is if Joe can play out the full 90 minutes. Oh, that's another great ball by Joe Wheelhouse.
McNaughton. Lovely spin at Guel. Was a good turn, but in the end he just... The field was a little short for him there.
Well, we saw last week when he went off, Smudge, what an impact he had on the game, because when he went off, Olympic, that's when they started to get into the game. And, it was just that wonder strike from Ben Hay at the end that was the difference.
Yeah, this is becoming such a torrid affair, isn't it?
Yeah, well...
I like that, Smudge. That's good. Thesaurus.com this morning.
I think his thesaurus was a man by the name of Skell.
He told me to say that last week, and I forgot to say it, which it was a torrid affair last week, Edgeworth versus Magic, but this was such a torrid affair.
Yes, one. Davies, it is running quickly towards the white chalk for Davies. Inside 3 minutes before the break. So Davies curls one in. Odell is there, but he can only knock it as far away as Scott Smith. Swan to Bird. Back onto his right. Now on his left. Spinning McNaughton this way and that. Very tight in there at the moment. Sessions. Half
very
stifled appeals for handball there. Interestingly, Lambton, they have not won a finals match away from Arthur Eden Oval since 2013. Here's Nathan Verity. Wheelhouse back to Michael Sessions, who's been the skipper for Lambton while Joe Wheelhouse was injured. Swancott takes his time. Now to Ben Hay, who we mentioned scored last week, but also scored last year against Hamilton here. After just 2 minutes, it was a 2-all draw. Wheelhouse was actually the week after the FFA Cup match between the sides, which Lambton won against Hamilton 3-2. Nathan Verity off the line. Tom Davies tracking that one. Ben Hay, well, just getting away from him. Swan, 2 teams there by Hay and Verity, and wins the free kick. So just 60 seconds. Not with CT. Well, actually with CT, because you are here, CT. You spoke to Ange Postecoglou during the week on the show. How exciting was that?
It was. I was actually floored at one point when I asked him what would he do if he found $10 million, and he said, ship it in with the other 10.
Just knock it back in.
No, that was quality. It was good fun to do.
Oh, it was. It was fantastic.
And wasn't he such a professional at the Men of Football night, wasn't he? Very intelligent guy.
Yeah.
Here's Swan. It just opens up for him. Andrew Swan. Nathan Morris. Now Goodchild just couldn't keep it down. And we are now just seconds away from the completion of the opening half. He was very much like a professional with his suit on, unlike CT with the bright green shirt.
Hey, it was very professional. Like there was questions from the crowd, and everyone was asking about his back three, and he just gave honest answers, which I thought was great.
Did you ask him about his back three?
No, I didn't. I don't like the 3-4-3, his formation. I love the 3-5-2, but the 3-4-3 just, I don't know, there's too many gaps in midfield for me, and not much flexibility.
Well, the proof will be in the pudding on Thursday night in Saitama against Japan, as James Thill puts the whistle to his mouth. And the first 45 is done. No goals to speak about. And there is plenty more to come in the second 45. So the entree has been served here. 45 minutes. We've got that out of the way. These are the 45 minutes which are going to decide who goes through to the big dance.
I think both coaches will be reasonably happy. 0-0, haven't conceded a goal. I think Bolt should be quite happy because he could really push for that last 15 minutes. However, you know what? It's been a very torrid affair, quite even, and both sides having chances.
Yep, thanks, Skel. And also, you look on that, they have both played what typically looks like a semi-final first half where they just haven't given anything away. But look, someone has to go through here, and as you say, Smudge, Michael Bolts will probably be very happy with that because it really opens up the opportunity to attack.
All right, half-time at Darling Street. Hamilton Olympic 0, Lambton Jaffas 0. We'll catch you in 10. Players are back out on the field here at Darling Street Oval for the second leg of this semi-final. Joel Griffiths and Joe Wheelhouse, the experienced duo in the centre circle. James Cleal on his birthday to get us back underway for the final 45 minutes of NPL football here at Darling Street in season 2017. Joel Griffiths to his brother Ryan. Lambton get the second half underway as they look to make their first grand final since 2014. Nathan Morris quickly in there on Reece Cooper. He copped some treatment from the Lambton defence in the first half. Olympic, they are looking to make their second grand final in 3 seasons. They lost to Edgeworth in 2015, 2-0. It's Kyle Hodges. Cross to Marcus Duncan. Damien Smith has returned from I don't know where.
I've been talking to the coaches, Bart. Just hold there a sec.
Here's Cooper, just a little high. That would have been impressive for him to excuse back nicely here for Goodchild. Well blocked. Here's Cody Lucas, almost finding Scott Smith. He got bumped by Morris. It's a penalty. Can you believe it? James Cleal points to the spot and hands a yellow card out to Nathan Morris.
I'd like to see that one again. I thought initially...
Here it is, Smudge. Now, I heard you go, oh.
Yeah, I thought initially he puts his hand on top of him. Did he? Oh.
Gee, that's a tough one.
That's a tough call. A very tough call on Nathan Morris.
Kane Goodchild. So Brad Swancott. Can you believe it?
Just on Swancott, he's a very good penalty saver. I've seen him save many a penalty.
So James Cleal just chatting to Sessions. Here he is. The Golden Boot in 2017. And Kane Goodchild blazes it over the bar. Can you believe it? Well, you couldn't believe the penalty. And now, Kane Goodchild.
Yeah, I think justice has been done, hasn't it? I thought it was a pretty harsh penalty call.
I'm trying to think of a penalty that has been missed this season. Players from the spot have been so impressive. It grazes the bar, goes over. The only player I can think of missing the target completely, I think, was Scott McGinley for Valentine. Most penalties this season have been scored in the NPL Northern New South Wales. So the match takes another twist. Here's Cooper. Lambton still not out of the woods as Cooper goes to Cody Lucas. Reece Cooper. Infield. Smudge, how big is that going to be psychologically for Olympic to get over?
Oh, they'll get over it. There's still a long way to go. They just need to win the game 1-0. It's obviously disappointing. They had a chance to go 1-0 up. However, they'll get over that. But just on that part, I'd like to welcome Craig Kerry to the grandstands. Great, the Newcastle Herald reporter turning up to the game today. Welcome, Craig. Yeah, normally watches it on Bar TV. We do all his work for him, so...
Well, do you ring the coaches as well, Smudge, for him?
So just on that part, I spoke to both coaches at half-time. Both coaches reasonably happy. Bolch obviously knows if it's 0-0 with 80 to go, he's really going to push numbers forward and really push for the win. So the longer it goes 0-0, obviously he's going to be slightly confident. But obviously he knows the attacking weapons of Lambton, and they can score at the drop of a hat because they transition very well.
Sessions with a powerful header away. Ben Hay, now Wheelhouse.
Just on the penalty, I think it's very important for Kane Goodchild. Just get over it, get on with the game, because you don't want this to be your last game of the season when you've got a chance to play at McDonald Jones Stadium next week.
Did you think it was a soft penalty, Smudge?
I thought it was a soft penalty in the end.
Do you think justice was done?
I did say that. What your thoughts?
I think justice was done, Smudge. Yep, I agree. Here's Daniel Bird. Now I thought it was very soft as Daniel Bird is fouled and Riley McNaughton. I
thought initially with the penalty, is that a foul on there? But when you see the replays, Yeah, it was a pretty tough call. And it's good to see Chris Turner finally coming back to his seat in the commentary box. He's been away.
Just speaking to Gavin Wolfe, the coach of the Maitland under-20s who are through to the grand final. Great season for them. Pat Brown is being summoned to the hot seat next to... He's going to have a chat to Alex Johnson-Young. I've told him to go and warm up.
It's good to see you back, CT, from wherever you've been.
Here's Joel Griffiths now, threading it through. And, Tom Davies. It was an interesting route he took to get to the ball. It was like trying to head to Merriweather to CT's house and going via Mayfield if you're coming from New Lambton.
Sorry, boys, went to the canteen to get some lunch, but unsuccessful. Big crowd.
Yeah, the old famous chicken burgers at Hamilton Olympic.
Didn't you go through the Bar TV speed lines, CT?
There was no Bar TV speed line, although I did bump into Daryl McAllister, who said he'd bring me up a schnitty.
I heard a rumour that Daryl McAllister will be on board at Maitland next year, helping out Michael Bolch. Heard that rumour during the week.
Is that right?
And I'm getting the thumbs up by Craig Carey in the front row.
If anyone would know, Craig Carey would know.
He's the Oprah Winfrey of Newcastle soccer. Knows everything.
Reece Cooper now, standing over the ball. Curling it towards Scott Smith and Goodchild at the back post. If you've just joined us, or while CT was standing in the line trying to get his schnitzel burger, Kane Goodchild blazed his penalty into the top of the bar and over. Just grazed the bar. Huge moment in the match.
Yeah, be disappointed, Kane. He's had a few opportunities today, hasn't he? He hasn't got his goal scoring bits on at the moment. However, there's still a long way to go.
He hasn't. He's had a... Yeah.
I was just
out there that point. He's had a few uncharacteristically scuffed shots today.
But I was just out there at half-time on the field, and it's actually quite blowy out there. It's very windy. It doesn't look like here, but it's actually quite windy, and it is still very moist and wet underneath. And bumpy.
It's a torrid pitch, really. Here's Kyle Hodges.
That looked like a foul throw.
Marcus Duncan. We did have a foul throw, actually, in the game that you two called here between Hamilton and Magic. I don't think I've seen a foul throw in 3 years of covering this competition. And you get the first game on the way this season and pops up.
Yeah, who did it? I vaguely remember.
Kandarovski skates towards the sideline. McNaughton, it opens up for him. Outside of the boot to Ryan Griffiths. Brother Joel in the middle. He's arriving, Joel Griffiths, but Tom Davies was arriving as well to save Hamilton's day.
They've got a good combination, the two Griffiths brothers, haven't they, CT? They work in tandem.
Yeah, not unlike Smith and Goodchild at the other end, is it? You know, when you've played with someone a long time, you certainly get to know their movements, their runs, where they like to play the ball.
Here's Griffiths curling it in. Good punch away from Tyler Warren. And Tom Davies puts on the afterburners. Swivels away from Sessions. Now Daniel Bird. Swan. Cries towards Matt Swan there as Joel Griffiths snuck up from behind.
But you can feel the tension in the grandstand here, can't you? Especially with a missed penalty.
Hodges, you can. Oh, it's Riley McNaughton. Cost one from the back of the Hampton bench. There's a few Maitland players actually just behind the Jaffas bench.
Yeah, they were here supporting their under-20s getting through.
Say Liam Thornton down there and Chris Faze as well. As here's Hodges giving away the free kick.
See Ryan Griffiths there, he's coming for the ball, then he stops suddenly and Hodges straight into his back. That's an experienced player, hey CT.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? Games like today, you want your big players, your big game players to step up.
Tyler Warren is there again as he keeps his footing on the goal kick. Had a few slippery moments in the 18-yard box down the other end. Smith and
Good challenge by Kanarowski. He's been good again today, CT.
Hamilton Olympic, or just before you say that, CT, Hamilton Olympic, they've won just one of 6 matches at Darling Street against Lambton since they were promoted for the start of the 2013 season. They played 6. Hamilton have won 1 here, drawn 3, and they've lost 2. Here's Smith with the header, trying to change that. And surprising that there haven't been many goals this afternoon, because Olympic have scored 2 goals in their last 3 home matches, at least 2 goals in their last 3 home matches against Lambton.
Yeah, there's been a few chances, Bart, but that's why I mentioned at the start of the season, at the start of the game commentary actually, that both sides have scored in every game, but I had a feeling it'd be different today.
McNaughton just can't keep the ball from curling over the byline. It did come back in the field of play.
Yeah, part of the reason I tipped Olympic, I had a feeling Olympic would win 1-0. There's a long one to go. That's part of the reason why I tipped Olympic to win.
Last year they came so close, didn't they? They had that unlucky decision with the offside go against them as Tyler Warren up the ground. Simon Mooney scored. They were up 1-0 in that match, so all they needed was a second goal, Olympic, and they were going through to the grand final after losing first leg 3-1. Then there was a goal they scored that was rubbed out for an offside, and replay suggested later it wasn't.
What is this? How you going, Daryl? Where's mine, mate?
It's Kantarowski.
So CT's got his own butler at Hamilton Olympic, hasn't he, Bart? His own table
Warren.
service.
That's right. He's got his snitty burger.
Very kind of Daryl McAllister to deliver that up.
Reece Cooper buys some space. Smith threads it wide. It was a little too close to Liam O'Dell, though.
The thing about Lambton's back 3 in Sessions, Morris and O'Dell, they're sticking very tight, aren't they? They're not moving. They're not budging. Making it very difficult for Olympic to get through.
Sessions rises. Wheelhouse again. Griffiths. Kyle Hodges.
Great ball.
Expert interception. Good child. Now to Cody Lucas. Saunters across the park and finds
They're very
Bird.
deep, very deep, Lambton. They're inside their 18-yard box.
Hodges, good child. And back for Hodges. Lambton's defence holding firm. Conceded 29 in 20 matches this year, compared to Hamilton's 20 in their 20 matches.
Good passage of play this from Olympic, holding onto the ball well here.
Here's Cooper. Now good child.
Great passage of play. Just have to be careful they don't force the pass ACT.
That's right, but at the moment they're just keeping the football, and they are definitely moving the ball around well at the moment, just trying to create something and open a hole up.
Cody Lucas. Now to Cooper. On the turn, Reece Cooper. Ben Hay was there with the block. Smudge, you were impressed with Ben Hay in the first half. You were very impressed with him last week. He won Sports Click Man of the match. Ryan Griffiths and Daniel Bird.
Bird needs to be careful. He's already on a yellow card.
He is. He does have to be very careful. One silly decision, and it could be all over for him. And that'll mean he'll miss next week as well.
Yeah, just on Ben Hay, I picked him in my team of the first round. I thought he had a pretty...
Ryan Griffiths, can he get goal side of Davies? Tom Davies, got the outstretched boot to the ball. They really missed him last season, Tom Davies, when he headed overseas. It's been outstanding for them this season. Already 70 matches for Olympic. Joined Hamilton Olympic as a 16-year-old in 2013. Made his first grade debut the same year. Kantarowski. Griffiths. Low. Bird away. Sessions, he can hit a ball. He just curls this one. And Tyler Warren strong in the air.
God, he's been good, Tyler Warren.
With a little bit of a limp. Swan.
Ben Hay's gone down.
Swan again here. Ben Hay, just keeping an eye on him. He's got a bit of a heavy limp. He's trying to run it out. Smith, nice touchback for Swan. Wheelhouse, just that work. It goes unnoticed. Joe Wheelhouse there. Doesn't score many goals in the NPL. Just 2 last season, only 1 in 2017.
Yeah, it's his positional play, Bart, and his leadership on the park, what counts. You seen last week. You seen last week.
Controls the match, doesn't he?
Lambton in control of the match. As soon as he went off, that last 20, 25 minutes, that's when Olympic got on top, scored the goal, and could have had another one.
And same thing earlier in the season when they played Edgeworth in the FFA Cup. It was 0-0 at half time. And as well, we know Edgeworth, they played very, very well in the second half. But Joe Wheelhouse, his injury had an impact on the match as well.
But also Lambton will win the comp while Joe was on the park as well. I'm not saying they would have won the comp, but he's such an influential player, hey, CT. I know you can't talk at the moment because you've got like nearly a whole chicken in your mouth.
Yes, Verity. So I'm just trying to imagine CT with a whole chicken in his mouth. It's Marcus Duncan now to Swan. Then Hay. He's recovered from that knock he suffered a couple of minutes ago. Here he is, Joe Wheelhouse, and the maestro.
Yeah, I think for Lambton, they need him on the park for the 90 minutes.
Morris goes back. There's some pressure coming from Andrew Swan. They're in a little bit of a pickle here in Lambton. Nathan Morris says, let's just put this over the sideline and allow some players to get back and defend as Marcus Duncan swings the ball across the ground towards Cody Lucas. Davies. Swan. That's a good child. Dispossessed.
Well defended by Sessions.
He's been great, and he's really stepped up, hasn't he, while Joe Wheelhouse was injured, but he's been very good the whole season, Michael Sessions. Had some injury problems in recent years, but back to his best this season as Griffiths. Pulling it in, and another ball across the line. The Olympic fans trying to give their side a bit of a rev up here. Inside half an hour to go. It's been very much an arm wrestle, hasn't it?
It's been a torrid affair, Bart. Very much a semi-final match.
Tyler Warren. A good child off the back of his head. Here is McNaughton.
Feels a bit of deja vu, CT. You're just leaving us again for about 10 minutes on the mic.
Daniel Bird. Nathan Morris on his bike to get down there. It will be a corner here. What was your opinion on the penalty, CT? Here's Dunkett. Cooper.
Good ball. They need some width here, Hamilton. Just a bit narrow.
Daniel Bird. Oh, Odell had the boot raised, and Daniel Bird again there. Gives Odell a little bit of a knock. Daniel Bird just off the play. There's plenty of niggle between those two.
I thought it was a fair challenge, fair play. It was solid.
And he just stuck his knee into him there in back play. Smith. That's what we're saying about Bird. Just trying to be careful. Is Cooper. Good shot. Oh. Nice ball. Swan! A super strike from Swan. And Hamilton denied with the penalty. They score now. And there is a little bit of afters. There's plenty of afters here. There is feeling this afternoon. Advantage Olympic now.
Yeah, that's Odell and Bird, I think, having a go at it. Hey, just going back on Kane Goodchild, if we can see the replay, the Goodchild's ability to hold the ball up, lay it off to Andrew Swan, and what a great finish. What a great team goal.
They're going absolutely crazy here in the stands.
What a great ball in by Kane Goodchild. Holds his defender off, lays it off to Andrew Swan, and what a great finish.
Let's just see Bird here. Bird runs straight to Odell and points at him. and gave him a gobful. You can see it there on replay. We'll just go back again if we can. Here we go. You watch Daniel Bird here. He charges straight at Odell. Here we go. See Daniel Bird centre of screen straight to Odell, and he's been sent off. And it's probably nothing short of what he deserves after what's happened the last few minutes.
Michael Bolter would be fuming.
Yeah, he certainly will, because, look, this is such a huge moment. And not only that, that'll rule him out for next week, boys, but at the moment, they've still got potentially, best part of half an hour to go here. So,
did he deserve that smudge?
I don't know. Gary, what do you think? I know he went up to Odell and said a few words to Odell. Did he push him? Did he do anything? Here we go. Have a look.
Yeah, this is what it's for here. Daniel Bird, it is unneeded. It is unneeded. I'm just going to say, you just don't do that. He got a little bump there by Odell there. So I don't know whether maybe Odell's lucky in the end to be out there as well. But Daniel Bird came and
I think that's a harsh call for a send off. Do you think?
Yeah. For a second yellow?
For a second yellow, I think that's a tough call because he hasn't touched Odell. I know he ran up to Odell, but he didn't get in his face or anything.
Here's Cooper. Well, you couldn't see as they went off screen there. I'm gonna back James Cleal on that one. But Lambton, there's plenty of feeling. Pat Brown is now out there for the Jaffas.
This makes for a very interesting 20 or so minutes, or 25 minutes.
It's just got the feeling now of Olympic hang on.
So obviously Bolter's gone. Looks like, good. No, just have a look at this shape, see what he's changed with the man down.
Reese Cooper, but Olympic with 10 men are still in the box seat with the 1-0 advantage. But what a goal from Swan. Reese Cooper. Wide he goes. A second goal would be a killer blow. But to be honest here, boys, it just wasn't needed, was it? You're on a yellow card. You're up 1-0.
Well, you know what? For me, when you go up in a moment like that, who cares what's happened before it? You just go and celebrate, because the worst feeling for Lambton right there is see the ball hit the back of the net.
Yeah, I think for a yellow card, I think it was for me personally, I think it was a little bit harsh. If I was James Cleal, I would have came over and just warned Daniel Bird, unless he's warned him previously. But now he's going to be, if they get through, he's ruled out of the grand final. But in saying that, like you said, Daniel Bird doesn't have to do that. He can go and celebrate with his teammates.
And the other thing is, we were saying, and you said about 10 minutes ago, as we see Nathan Verity take down Swan, the other Swan is Tyler Warren. We were saying about 10 minutes ago he gave Odell a little bit of a bump with his knee. Then he did similarly 5 minutes ago. And we were saying if Cleal sees this, he's going to be in trouble.
Exactly.
And it's just a build-up of things. I don't know if James Cleal has seen it or the assistant referees. If they have, Goodchild wins the free kick. If they have seen it, Smudge, that's a build-up of effectively fouls. And that's adds up to a yellow. So,
and we don't know what James Cleal has said to Bird. He might have said to Bird, one more time you're off. Because he's been niggling all game as well, so...
Was it worthy of a straight red? No, I don't think so.
At all. I know he went up. He didn't really get up into his face. I'm
pretty sure it was a second yellow. We're sort of blocked here from as Sessions goes into the book for a yellow card.
These are valuable seconds for Olympic since this free kick's been taken. They've really chewed the time down, got themselves set up.
So just over 20 to go. We can take a deep breath. Lambton need a goal now. If Olympic get another one and Lambton get one, we're going into extra time. In 2015, it was Lambton leading 2-0, and then Olympic grabbed one back to send it into extra time. It's the opposite here. It's Olympic who have taken the 1-0 lead, but the same circumstance in the match. Verity. And now Reese Cooper getting a tug, winning the free kick. If you have just joined us, so Kane Goodchild after the break, he hit the bar and went over with a penalty. Andrew Swan scoring the goal for Olympic just a few minutes ago. And Daniel Bird sent off in the aftermath. And James Pascoe, the Lambton coach, unwell. He hasn't Well, he hasn't arrived here at Darling Street this afternoon. He stayed
There's
at
dramas
home.
everywhere, Bart.
It's all happening. Here's Cooper. Low. Wheelhouse with the header away. He's been outstanding this afternoon, Joe Wheelhouse, but he's going to have to go to another level here to inspire Lambton. Smith. Wheelhouse tracking.
It's 1v6 here. Good child, no chance. Just like to welcome one of Bart TV's biggest fans, is Luke Virgili, watching the game at home. Hopefully his hamstring might be okay for tonight's match versus Edgeworth.
Cody Lucas pulls down Brown. He kicks the ball away as well. And he gets a yellow card, Cody Lucas.
Well, I hope Luke Virgili is enjoying this at home because it's absolutely all happening right now.
Well, don't go anywhere. There was a rugby tackle there from Cody Lucas.
I tell you what, this is going to be a long 20 minutes for Olympic, I feel.
Absolutely. Well, you can see that in the attack that just happened before. Goodchild, you said, Smudge, 1v6, and that was about it. Morris on the ball. He loves it from this area. He'll probably look just to put it directly in behind where the back line is for Olympic right now so that they can run on to hopefully put something in the back of the net is what he'd be looking to do here.
Incredibly, CT. No goals for Morris this year. He curls this one in. We know he can put free kicks on a dime. Kantarowski, air swing. Verity on the left. It slips through towards Wheelhouse. Now Brown! What a save from Tyler Warren.
Oh, he's getting high fives from his teammates there, and he's just pulled out an absolute cracker.
He's been outstanding today, hasn't he, Tyler Warren? Made some crucial saves in the first half. Air swing by Kantarowski.
This one sits up beautifully. For
Norton now just spraying that one. Great save from Tyler Warren there, as we can see, but it's a corner for Lambton. Nathan Morris last year, 4 goals for Western. And he loved the dead ball situations. And he has another one here. Here he is. Morris, low towards the near post. Duncan with the outstretched foot. Good child. The ball just running a little too quickly away from him. Swan. Lucas.
I think it's very important for Lambton having the extra man to set up. Don't need to...
Good child. He has Reese Cooper. Does he try to win the foul? He's got Cooper. Cooper! Great save, Brad Swancott. Great save from Swancott.
Tell you what, Goodchild might have missed that penalty earlier, but G's made up for it. He set up the last goal and he almost did the same again.
And all of a sudden at the other end of the ground, Pat Brown almost with a chance. He's sprinting after the ball as Cody Lucas down to the sideline.
Sorry, that was a great opportunity. Oh, well done by
Turned over again, Griffiths. There is action at every angle as Tyler Warren, up he goes, claims that one.
That was a great opportunity for Reese Cooper.
Got an injury here. Just having a quick scan. Is it Ben Hay that... No, Ben Hay's in the middle of the park.
I think it's Ryan Griffiths, I think.
It is Ryan Griffiths. We'll see if we've got this on replay. Paul, our producer's doing a great job getting the replays up for us. Here it is. What? Yeah, maybe this is a bad one for Griffiths here because it looked as though... Do you think he's got a touch? Like Kyle Hodges in, he goes there. Looked like he fell awkwardly.
Let's get a closer look.
It was Hodges' left boot, but I don't know if that was... Whether it was the landing after that.
Just the way he fell, maybe.
Yeah.
Just on some of our favourite viewers at home watching on C2, we've got Conor McGregor watching at home. Josh Pennington. He's got a big game on tonight. And a big fight tomorrow as well.
Justin Tannock online having a look as well, Smudge.
Yeah, that left boot just getting jammed under.
I'd like to hear from Pennington if he's out there. Let us know what the score's going to be tonight.
So Olympic, they led 1-0 in the semi-finals last year in the second leg against Magic, and then they were overrun. They had to go for it last year when they were up 1-0. They don't have to go for it this year. James Cleal says Ryan Griffiths is fine to come back on. Recommences.
He might have just got one in the old how you goings there, but...
He's fine here, Ryan Griffiths now. How does your voice go against CT? As Hodges...
He'll be all right.
It was expertly done, but Tyler Warren awkwardly down low. Had to sort of smother it into the turf.
Just going back on the send-off of Bird, all reports around the ground is that I think Bird might have had his finger up in Odell's face, but we'll have to see on replay.
Giving him the bird,
I'm sure there were... see,
Oh,
that is
turn.
one of your best. That's your best joke all year. Here's Goodchild. Now to Smith. Smith central. Goodchild. Just couldn't sneak it through. He's got Swan again, but he's got Cooper too. He looked for Cooper.
You mentioned Goodchild, CT. He missed the penalty, but he's really come of age, hasn't he, in the last 10 or 15 minutes?
Well, he's a big game player, and he loves the noise, he loves the action. And yeah, he set up 2 really good opportunities, one of them resulting in a goal.
Well, Bulch is chatting to Alison McCready, who is the 4th official down there on the touchline, just having a little chat. Luke Remington is standing up next to Scott McCarter, who is Lambton's coach for this afternoon's match. McNaughton, if you just joined us, James Pascoe, unwell, he's in bed. Here's Ryan Griffiths. It's going to loop onto the bar. Damien Smith, you thought that was in, and I thought I did too.
Then it went behind Ben. Ben's right in front of us, so I couldn't see. So I thought...
That was Ben, our cameraman. There's plenty of Bens here at Bar TV. Here's Morris. Again on the corner. Here he is, curling it in. Tyler Warren got glue on those gloves.
He's looking big in goals, isn't he?
I don't want
the goals are looking smaller.
I don't want to...
Who's Goodchild?
It's Goodchild. Odell bounced up awkwardly, did well to bring the ball down. Yeah, CT, last week, your commentator's curse was one of the best I've ever heard in my life. That was awesome. Lambton, they won't concede. How good's their defence? Ball over the top. Reece Cooper scores.
Mistake.
That was
big mix up at the back. And they couldn't have screwed up any better, could they?
I thought it was brilliant. It was just a wonky ball from Kyle Hodges. And that's what Reece Cooper can do to you. The Swan gets knocked to ground by Kantorowski. 13 to go.
Things moving in the right way for Olympic at the moment. I mean, they're a man down.
Here he is.
They're a man down, and they've just really kept going on with the game. They haven't sat back in so much.
So there's a defensive move. Scott Smith. Striker is off. Grant Brown, the saviour from a couple of matches earlier in the season in round 9 and 10. He's on. Scored some late goals to steal a point for Olympic in both of those. And Luke Remington is on for the Jaffas. Joel Griffiths is off. So the speed of Remington will have a big influence, you feel. He's had injury concerns this week. He's been in a hyperbaric chamber, I believe, trying to get himself right.
Even Goodchild's positioning then with Morris, with his body position, was just spot on.
Yeah, because he knows that he's going to just chew up some seconds here, and that's what he did, and there's no rush to take the corner, and they come.
And even if you look at the corner, like it's 2v6 or 7 in the box.
Here's Cooper. Swan at the back post. Morris was with the header away. Remington. Knowing he's injured, I wonder how physical Hamilton Olympic will be with him. Well, knowing he's a little ginger. Here he is, Remington. Wide to McNaughton. That's a huge play from Grant Brown.
Okay, this is the area that Olympic needs to be really careful. They just don't want to just sit in and just wait and be attacked and attacked, because at the moment, that's what it kind of looks like. Yeah,
they've gone to 5 at the back, it looks to me.
They need to be very disciplined. They can't go one out defending, can they? They have to hold their shape and defend as a unit. And it looks like Pappas is going to come on.
What's been working well is where they've been hitting Goodchild. Still, he holds the ball up so well, and just get him to hold up, get some people off him, and get down the other end of the park.
So they've just got 2 other outfield subs on the bench as Morris curls this one in. Michael Sessions arrives and makes it 1-1. A great goal from the Lambton defender, and it could prove decisive. 1-1 with just over 10 minutes to go. We said Olympic were sitting back. They're going to have to score now to send it into extra time.
To me, that looked like a free header. I didn't actually see it.
It was, well, Tom Davies fell off him. So remember, Hamilton have only got 10 men.
The score is 3-2 on aggregate.
So if the mindset before was to sit in and defend, it can't be that now. They have to go and score, and they need to get a result. So they've really got to start. I think, looking particular for Goodchild, hit him, and then get your players in and support and see if you can get something off down towards that transitional bottom third there.
Hodges just lets it run to Tyler Warren. So quickly, the momentum shifts. Hamilton with 10 men have to find a goal to give themselves 30 minutes extra to score this afternoon. Otherwise, their season is over. Michael Bulcher's time as Hamilton Olympic coach is over. Here is Davies. Sessions.
Yeah, with Lambton having the extra man, I think it's going to be difficult for Olympic. Oh, Joe Willhouse, quality.
Wins the free kick. Do you think Lambton are just going to grind this one out now?
I believe so. I think with 10 to go, I think they'll grind it out. They'll take their time. They've got experienced players on the park. They've got the added man. I think it's going to be very difficult for Hamilton.
Was it a mismatch, do you think, to have Davies marking Sessions? Do you think they could have marked up better there? Olympic as Kane Goodchild comes from the park.
Well, it's one of those things when you got a corner coming into play, you just pick up who's ever closest when things are quick.
Number 35, Bruce Pappas, replacing number 4, Kane Goodchild.
Goodchild now. Smith and Goodchild may have played their last minutes for Hamilton.
Interesting move by Boss because he's got his two leading strikers off the park with 10 to go. And they need a goal.
Grant Brown. Swan. Here's Andrew Swan. Here's Reece Cooper. He can pull a rabbit out of his hat, Reece Cooper. He goes wide. Pappas! Reece Pappas. It just takes... No, it hasn't taken a deflection. Reece Pappas.
Gee, I was expecting that one to hit the back of the net.
It looked like he
Great
just
work
lifted his
from
head.
Cooper.
Here it is. Did it take it? He struck it awkwardly in the end.
Yeah, Cooper did very well then. They've had a few chances in the second half Olympic. They'll be ruining the missed opportunities.
So they've got Sean Pratt and Luke Rutledge left on the bench Olympic in terms of outfield players.
I was going to say, Smudge, you're talking about Smith and Goodchild going off, but we've got Pappas. Pappas is playing up front. He's some fresh legs because those guys have put in a good shift. Worked very, very hard. So, maybe he's just looking to create something with some fresh legs.
Well, we know Reece Pappas has a very good free kick on him, so it's a little far out. So he's going to try and... Well, he's hit the one-man wall. There's a commentator's curse, CT. Matt Brown after it. Grant Brown. Those two making the switch. Pat Brown and Grant Brown. They were at opposite clubs last year. They made the switch midway through the season. Grant at Lambton, Pat at Hamilton at the start of last year.
Even so here, Olympic just need to be patient with the ball. Get a bit of width about them. Try and get a 1-2 in and around the box. There's still plenty of time to score to get it to go to extra time.
Swan along the turf. Just his second goal of the season, Michael Sessions, that head up a few moments ago.
And again, boys, both of these teams have scored in every single game this year. That's quite a feat, isn't it?
Cody Lucas. So for one of the sides, that will remain true for their entire season. Shows you the attacking prowess. And while there hasn't been as many goals this year in the NPL on average compared to last year, it just shows you smaller scores, not as many sides racking up the goals, so it's been a little more even. Closer. It's Ben Hay pushes forward.
He looks great in full flight, doesn't he, boys? He looked great last week in full flight. That's why he got our Sports Click Man of the match.
How important does that goal he scored last week seem now? In stoppage time, has a lash. That was huge, wasn't it?
Boys, I know we've got 5 minutes to go, but we have to start thinking about our Harry Snitty play of the day as well as our Sports Click Man of the match.
Well, we've got a couple of really good contenders. One of them out there for me is Joe Wheelhouse for Lambton. I think you mentioned before, Smudge, about just his general play in the middle being the general. All the work that he's done unnoticed, and then some of the balls that he's played today to create opportunities just been fantastic.
Remington getting brought down from
behind.
I
agree with this, CT. And what about our... Actually, there's been some really good play. Ben Hayes had another solid game. Michael Kanarowski has been very solid in the centre of the park, especially working in combination with Joe Wheelhouse.
Well, Peter Haynes mentioned early in the piece how he thought the combination between Kanarowski and Wheelhouse, would largely determine. They've both had very, very good games. Harry Schnitzel, player of the day. Potentially, Tyler Warren's pulled out some big saves, not just one, but he's pulled out sort of 4 or 5.
So Sean Pratt is on and Cody Lucas off. That is definitely an attacking move from Michael Bulch. Verity. A goal wins it here for Lambton.
CT, is there any last-minute drama in this torrid affair?
I think I've heard you mention torrid affair skill. Oh, sorry, Smudge. At least a dozen times. You just never know. Finals football is 5 or 6 minutes, probably including extra time. So I wouldn't be surprised. Olympic have just got to go for it now.
All hands to the pump. Remington. Back for Kanarowski. Here's Pat Brown. He was Olympics hero in 2015. But 2 years on, Pat Brown has sunk his former club. Just over 3 minutes to go. Lambton lead by 2-1. And they are on their way to their third grand final.
We'll get another look at this one. In the end, it seemed quite simple. Ball was put in the back of the net, and you're right, there they go. They're on their way to the grand final in 2017.
But just on the play back, Remington, great to see him back on the park after his cork thigh. He skins one of the Olympic defenders.
He let the crowd know about it as well. Swan.
Yeah, in the end, I think Michael Boss can't believe what's happened in the final 15, 20 or so minutes.
Same thing happened to Olympic last year as well against Magic. They led 1-0. Magic came back. Surely there's not a miracle. Reece Cooper. Cooper launches one, and you just sense it's not going to be Olympics Day.
Well, Bolts will probably say if the penalty goes in and that second goal gives them a 2-0 lead, it might have been enough to...
What about the red card? What about the red card?
To me, the red card, it was... Yeah, I think that's really hurt Michael Bolcher's side.
And he won't be happy. He's not going to be happy about that.
11 v 11, it was such a tight affair.
Brad Swan caught with the goal kick. There's a culmination of factors, really, if you think about it. Ben Hayes' goal last week, forcing Olympic to have to score twice after Michael Sessions put his header in. The red card as well, the missed penalty.
And you know what, to be honest, over the course of the two games, if you look at both legs, I think Lambton just shades Olympic as the better side.
Morris. And we're going to get a grand final, which is going to be fascinating. It's going to be Lambton up against either Broadmeadow or up against Edgeworth. And why it's so fascinating is because Edgeworth in 3 matches this year only beat Lambton once, and Magic and Lambton didn't beat Magic this year. So whatever grand final we get, it's going to be exciting stuff. 7 p.m. next week at McDonald Jones Stadium.
Another player of the Sports Click Man of the Match nomination is Michael Sessions. He's had a big game, boys.
Yeah, totally agree. He's been rock solid at the back. Yeah, it's a tough one. I think most of the Lambton players have played pretty good. Same with Olympic players. It's been a pretty tight game. But I think Nathan Morris has been rock solid at the back. Same with Odell as well. Their back three's been really solid.
Yeah, Nathan Morris. Is there a blot on his copybook for the penalty, but or was it a penalty? The question probably.
Yeah, it was a tough call, I thought, with the penalty. I know, CT, you didn't see it because you're too busy getting your chicken snitty.
Well, the one I didn't get, and there's a nomination for Daryl McAllister for bringing over the snitty for me, for Harry Schnitzel Player of the Day.
I'd be tempted to give the Player of the Day to maybe, well, if we haven't got anyone else, maybe Pat Brown's winner. Tyler Warren made some great saves as well.
Yeah, that's a very, very good call.
Against his former club as well, Pat Brown. At the same end he scored at for Olympic at Arthur Eden Oval 2 years ago. As Davies into the middle.
Yeah, Gary Fisher's made a comment. Player of the day could be Michael Sessions' goal because that's the game. That's the goal that virtually put Lambton into the grand final.
It's a very good point
Cooper
as well.
curling it in. Here's Pratt back for Swan. Here is Pappas. That is a big save from Swancott. A really big one because that goes in from Reece Pappas. There's a little bit of hope for Olympic all of a sudden.
He's a big game player, Swancott. Does these saves all the time, doesn't he, CT? Good mate of ours.
Seen it time and time again, him pull off saves like that.
Cooper, it's deep. Pratt rises. Doesn't get any contact on it.
I think Swancott's made some crucial saves today, but he got our player of the day last week, so he can't have too many Harry Snitties.
No. Look after him going to the grand final.
So here's a little bit of a time-wasting substitution from Lambton as Ridge Marpu and Riley McNaughton exchange places. It's an ovation. Riley McNaughton, he'll play in another grand final.
And just on our player of the day, Harry himself has texted through Bart, and he's suggesting Pat Brown for play of the day, scoring the match winner.
Yeah, I'm going to go with that as well, Pat Brown.
Is that another good season, Pat Brown?
Yeah, started the season well. 11 goals after he scored 6 in his first 5. It's been a lean trot since then, but he's had injuries, and you can see that strapping on his elbow from that collision with Kieran Sanders.
So, boys, we need to confirm Sports Click a man of the match. For my liking, I think Joe Wheelhouse, his leadership. It's great to have him back after 8 weeks of being out. He played 3/4 of a game last week, but today he's really stood up. Him and Kantarowski have been superb in the middle of the park with Hay. But for me, Joe Wheelhouse, for me, is...
He just brings into the team something different, doesn't he? He gives them stability, gives them confidence. He directs them around. And some of the balls that he's played today in setting up opportunities has just been A-class. So, yeah, no disagreement from me, that's for sure.
Hodges with the flick on. His wait for an Olympic goal. We'll go into another season. Kyle Hodges, he takes down Kantarowski there. Ben Hay after it. Are they going to put a final nail in Olympics' coffin? Sean Pratt, Hodges. Here's Wheelhouse. It's going to be another semi-final defeat for Hamilton Olympic. And Lambton are on their way to grand final day. A first grand final since their first ever top flight victory in 2014 against Western. And while the premiership may have slipped by, the Jaffas will get their chance to put the crowning glory on their season with a victory next Saturday at McDonald Jones Stadium. Mick Bolch bows out at Olympic after 8 years in charge, and he can be proud of his side season, finishing second in the regular season. But once again, disappointing in the semi-finals. They've fallen just short of grand final day. Full time here at Darling Street. Hamilton Olympic 1, Lambton Jaffas 2. And we're going to head into the Lambton sheds, I'm pretty certain, CT. Is that the story?
I think so. I think that's the case. But look, what a great effort from Lambton there. They've come back from a 1-0 behind to seal their fate for the grand final. So they'll be absolutely ecstatic down there and keen to catch up.
Yes, and we're going to chat to Pat Brown, who has won our Harry Schnitzel's Player of the Day. And also, we're going to have a chat to Joe Wheelhouse, our man of the match. Gary Fisher from Northern, if you could come over and have a chat to me so I'm not talking to myself for the next few minutes. Just to have a chat about the... Just to have a chat. I'm just having a look here whether there's anything untoward going on there. Kane Goodchild having a chat to the referee. Doesn't look too impressed there, Goodchild. Chatting to James Cleal. Bulch having a chat to Cleal as well. So, yeah, he isn't too happy, Michael Bulch, about what happened there in the second half. Gary, but we'll move on to brighter things in regards to the NPL Youth Finals.
Yeah, great day up there at Western at the moment. Hamilton Olympic are currently leading Broadmeadow Magic in the 15s 3-0. So they look like they'll hang on there. It's a win to Hamilton Olympic, and earlier on North Coast Football 3-0 over Adamstown. No, Edgeworth, sorry, and Lambton Jaffas 4-0 over Adamstown. So, yeah, great day up there. It's great to see the youth showcased in their full spirit at Rockwell Automation Park. And a great game here today. Great showcase for football. Great battle.
Well, we're going to head down onto the park here. Pat Brown is with Damien Smith for the Harry Snitzel play of the day. We'll head down there now.
I have Pat Brown, Lambton Jaffas striker, mate. You're our player of the day for scoring the winner today in your celebration. You're obviously very excited against your old club.
Yeah, I'm very excited to score the winner and go through the grand final and hopefully beat Edgy at Hunter Stadium.
Mate, Harry Snitzel player of the day, mate. What was it like coming on with the last, 15, 20 to go? It was very tight.
Oh, I could see that they were dying, and knowing when I come on, I knew I pretty much was going to run right, so it was good to get the goal and get in the final. So Pasco would be happy.
Yeah, Pasco would be definitely happy. We said that it's a big loss, Pasco not being here today, but obviously the boys did it for Pasco today, been quite unwell.
Yeah, it's been unfortunate for him not being here, but he motivates us to push on and win games and come from behind, like we did in first round against Hamilton, and he's a big part of this team where we're in the final now, and it's because of him.
And it's great to have Job and Nathan Morris back in the side. They've been superb the last 2 weeks, especially in the semi-final series.
Yeah, Job and Morris are a big key for our team, and without them, it's pretty much them and Morris and everyone else. They're good to have in the side.
Okay, but Pat, congratulations. You're our Harry Snitzel man of the match. We're going to go into the sheds and get the team song. Congratulations and good luck next week, mate. Cheers.
Thanks for that, Smudge. Now, I'm pretty sure we're not going to be able to go into the sheds here. We've just got to cut the stream here. We'll just have to finish it up, unfortunately. All right, so thanks for joining us. We'll be back at 7:30 tonight at Jack McLaughlin Oval, Edgeworth. Until then, it's goodbye.